On today's show, the Edmonton Oilers are struggling, but how concerned should they be? The playoff picture is typically a good indicator at U.S. Thanksgiving. We've reached that mark, plus our 3 stars of the week.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome inside this Wednesday, November 26th edition of the Locked On NHL podcast. I'm Ross Levitan from Locked On Senators. With me is Mike DiStefano from Locked On Maple Leafs. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com, and you can win $300 in bonus bets. That's if your first $5 bet wins. Mikey, I don't think anybody's making money betting on the Oilers this year.
I don't think a lot of money's being made betting on a lot of Canadian teams this year. It's been a struggle. I can say that sitting here in Toronto, but Edmonton, man, absolutely got rinsed last night, 8-3. It's the only game on the schedule, so everyone's kind of paying attention and watching, and they got dummied by the Dallas Stars. Was it 8-3 by the Stars? And dude, like, they got to get a goalie. I mean, we've been saying this for 3 years. Like, at this point, I don't even feel sorry for Edmonton because everyone knows it. Even Stan Bowman yesterday or last year, after they lost in the Stanley Cup final, came out and almost said, we need to change things in net, and then did nothing in the offseason. And now they're one of the worst teams in goal this year. And I wonder why that is. Like, it's embarrassing that they're still running out the same tandem that they've had over the last few years when we clearly know it doesn't work.
It's just so tough if you're a fan of the Oilers, because when you know and you're just screaming, just pointing at the screen, saying, what the heck are we doing? Running it back with Stuart Skinner. Again, I know he's a local kid. I know it's a great story, but he is not the guy. He might be a good backup. That would be perfectly fine. But in his last 5 games, he's allowed 3 or more goals in all of them. He's allowed 3 goals twice, 4 goals twice, and 5 goals against Washington. The only difference with the Dallas game is that those 4 goals came on 8 shots all in the first period, and he did not come out to join his teammates after the first. I honestly give Knobloch a lot of credit for letting him finish the period after the 4th goal. Because if I would have had enough with him, I would have embarrassed him on home ice, dragging him out there with a minute left in the period and saying, come sit on the bench.
Yeah, I guess Knobloch a little bit of a better person than you and I, because I probably would have done the same thing. But you look at the numbers, from the Oilers as a team, and they're 30th in the NHL, allowing 3.72 goals against per game. Dead last in team save percentage, 868. 868 team save percentage.
Wow.
You're not going to win a lot of hockey games if your team's only saving 86% of the shots that they're giving up. And that's the problem. This is a clearly a very talented team. They have the best player and maybe the second best, if not third best player in the world on their team in Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. They can find a way to get, 2, 3, 4 goals a night for sure for that team and that offense. But when you're giving up 3, 4, 5, it's tough to win games. So this team needs to figure it out, man. And we're at the quarterway mark of the season. It's that, American Thanksgiving barometer, right? We're going to wake up tomorrow and it's American Thanksgiving. And it's not a good spot where the Oilers find themselves at this point.
No, it is not. The one little sliver of lining, not a silver lining, sliver of lining, is Connor Clattenburg. Congratulations, young man. Second NHL game, first NHL goal. Good Ottawa boy, 20 years old. He was a 5th-round pick in 2024, so already making the jump to the NHL after being a 5th-round pick last year. So he gets a goal for the Oilers in a losing effort, but it ain't on him. It's the guys in the crease. And look, I come from a goalie-friendly show over at Locked On Senators, but it is beyond ridiculous at this point. And you don't even have to say anything further than you did with the save percentage, where You just need saves, and we've seen John Gibson be on the trade market, go elsewhere. Linus Ullmark been on the trade market, go elsewhere. My point being, there's been a number of quality options that have been available, but Edmonton says, nope, we're good. We'll just grab Connor Ingram off of waivers. Maybe it'll work out. It doesn't look good in Bakersfield for him. They need a legit number one guy. Sidney Crosby had Marc-Andre Fleury. Alex Ovechkin had Braden Holtby. You need a guy back there for your superstars that can stop the gosh darn puck. All right. So the Oilers, they're struggling. Dallas Stars, though, on the other side, huge win here. And they had the biggest win of the day yesterday off the ice. Those new black jerseys are such an upgrade on what they've got. What'd you think when you saw those?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not typically like jersey guy where I don't own a lot, and it's not usually my thing to like notice them, but they look pretty sharp last night.
Sharp.
I will say they look pretty sharp, and it's probably a big reason why they got going and put up an 8 spot. When you can go out there and look like that. What's the old saying from Dion? Look good, play good. Yeah, look good, feel good, play good, play good. They pay good, and J-Rob is hoping to get paid very well based on the way he's playing. Had another goal last night. That's 7 straight games with a goal for him.
Olympics.
I mean, he should be on the Olympic radar. Should have been even before.
If you ask Alex DeBrincat, he should be on the Olympic team.
Yeah, he probably also believes that he should be on the radar, but
no, he said he should be on the team.
Oh, well, I mean, you could make the argument. I mean, he's been one of the better Americans over the last, decade or so. He could make the argument that he should be there. I know him snubbing your sentence years ago. You don't like it?
As a Canadian, I hope he's on the team.
Yeah, I would imagine you would. I would imagine you would. But I think J-Rob for sure. That Dallas team is just they're a wagon, man. Between Dallas and Colorado, like I don't think there's anyone really even close to right now, to that,
especially with Connor Hellebuck being hurt.
Well, right? Yeah. Like it's gonna be those two teams in the Central Division, and probably those are the two teams who have the best chance to win probably to me the best chance to win the Stanley Cup. I would say Colorado 1, Dallas 2 at this point. And they're in the same division, so it's only one of them is going to make it out of the second round, which is sad, but it's going to be a hell of a matchup. But that's kind of where I'm at right now with those two squads.
Yeah, and Jason Robertson's 4th in the National Hockey League in scoring, tied with Connor Bedard. The Dallas Stars are 11-2-3 in their last 16 games with a +19 goal differential. Their power play is 18 for 57 during that stretch. They have been monsters in this portion of the season, despite their advanced analytics at 5-on-5, not necessarily heavily in their favor. They got a 45% shot attempts at 5-on-5 with their Corsi. So we'll see how the Dallas Stars can operate going forward. But their goaltending has been solid. Their offense has been explosive, 3.6 goals per game during this stretch. Dallas Stars making their push here as we hit U.S. Thanksgiving in the Central Division, finding themselves just 5 points back. Yeah, that's how good Colorado's been. 1 regulation loss for the Avalanche all year, Mikey. Insane.
Wild stuff.
Well, the Wild are in 3rd, actually. They've won 5 in a row, though. Sneaky for Minnesota.
Those goalies. That Jesper Wallstedt. You saw the tweet trending around yesterday. Just a reminder that Jesper Wallstedt was taken with an Edmonton Oilers draft pick.
That they traded back.
It away. They traded back. They traded the pick away. And everyone's screaming, Wallstedt fell in your lap. And they trade back and let the Wild take him. And now he's one of the best goaltenders in the league this year.
Hey, but Xavier Borgo looked good for the Belleville Senators yesterday. That's who they traded up to go get instead of the goalie.
Yeah.
Jesper Wallstedt. And it wasn't like they traded at the deadline and, oh, whoopsie, that's my pick. No, he was on the board available, and they traded back.
Yep.
It would just make my blood boil if I was an Edmonton Oilers fan. But, hey, fans of teams in the playoffs, good news. got a high percentage chance of making it once you hit U.S. Thanksgiving, but things are as tight as they've ever been. We'll look at how the playoff picture is developing next. You're listening to Locked On NHL, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch. Let's be honest, most of us can't even name all our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth. Between 401ks, savings, and investments, it's easy to lose track, and that can mean leaving money on the table. That's why I started using Monarch. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. I recently got Monarch, and it helps me organize my accounts, track my spending, and get a better handle on my investments without ever having to touch a spreadsheet. I love that I can review everything with my partner and see our shared goals, making better financial decisions easier. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com. Code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. Welcome back, Locked On NHL, your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we have local experts on the biggest stories, and we are now the #1 sports podcasting network alive. Okay, so the playoff picture right now in the Atlantic Division is the Tampa Bay Lightning, Detroit Red Wings, and Ottawa Senators. The Metropolitan Division is the Carolina Hurricanes, the New Jersey Devils, and the New York Islanders. The wildcard spots, Washington and Boston. Shocking. Some of the teams that are in the mix right now, some strong starts, whether they just went on a streak or what. And we know that about 85% of teams that are in the playoffs at U.S. Thanksgiving will make the Stanley Cup playoffs. But that said, Mikey, this year, I'm not buying that number is going to be so high because the Boston Bruins have 26 points. So too do the Ottawa Senators, third in the Atlantic. There are not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 teams lurking just 1 point back.
It's wild, man. It's crazy how close things have gotten this year in the NHL. It's funny. I know that you have experienced a lot of this over the years, but being outside of a playoff position at this point is not the best thing in the world in the sense of, they got off to slow starts. Typically, the Maple Leafs not quite used to it, but they find themselves at the bottom of the Eastern Conference at American Thanksgiving, and typically that's a death sentence to be that low in the standings at this point in the year. But when you look at it, it's so tight. They're only 5 points out of a playoff spot, 5 points behind the Boston Bruins, and they got a couple games in hand on top of them as well to put themselves back in the playoff picture. So it's so bizarre, sitting here, crying about the Maple Leafs being in last place on the Locked On Leafs podcast. Meanwhile, they rattle off 3-4 straight wins. Like, they could get themselves right back into a playoff spot. It's so tight. You can go from last into a playoff spot within a week. Realistically, it's crazy. The parity in the league right now, I think, is the highest it's ever been.
And it feels like every night there's 4 overtime games, which speaks to that, but it also just crowds the standings even more. I think where the panic comes in, and you know this better than anybody, Mikey, is that the Leafs, not only are they in last place, but they've had a very home-heavy start. Like, they're 1-6 on the road, but only 7 road games out of 22 games. The Sens are on a 7-game road trip right now, let alone all season.
Yeah, and they're out on the road now. They just went to the Bell Center to play Montreal, lost that game. They're on the road tonight.
What, they take via rail for 4 hours?
Yeah, well, yeah, I know. They're in Columbus tonight and Washington, Pittsburgh, and then Florida to finish out the road trip. So they got a 5-game roadie right now. The problem is they're 1-6 on the road this year. So it's been brutal once they get out on the road. Not that their home record has been that much better, but yeah, it's, being in Toronto, it's interesting. Like, I guess from an outside perspective, Ross, like, are you more concerned for the Maple Leafs or the Edmonton Oilers this season?
Well, concerned objectively, I would say I'm more concerned about the Toronto Maple Leafs just because there were so many changes in the offseason. And I get that you could say, oh, it'll take them time to come together. But with the ghosts of years past of the guys who have been there, I think that now that it's starting earlier, that it might be them being like, oh boy, like, uh-oh. and then the new guys kind of getting a panic to them. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they both have a ton of talent. But if you're asking who I'm betting on, whether it's Matthews, Nyes, who's the top dog with
Willie.
them now up front, I guess, and Tavares is having, Willie, of course, and Tavares is having a great season too. But I'm riding with McDavid and Draisaitl being able to score their way out of their problems is kind of where I'm at with that. And you got to think at some point, the Edmonton Oilers are going to trade for a goalie.
Yeah. Who's available? That's the question, though. Like, who's out there as a goalie for them to go and get at this point? I guess Binnington. Like, do they spend up and just go and get Jordan Binnington? He's won the big games, right? He's won a Stanley Cup. He came up clutch in the gold medal game last year for Canada at the Four Nations. Like, is that the goalie that makes the most sense for the Edmonton Oilers at this point? Just nut up, pay up, and go get Jordan Binnington?
Now, this would be brutal in terms of the way it would look, and he just signed a 7-year extension. I'm not saying it's happening, but if I'm the Edmonton Oilers, I would be making some calls for UC Saros. Having the connection with Matthias Ekholm, who was there for a while, I don't think it's realistic. And year one of an 8-year extension, paying him $7.74 million, but like they need to go all the teams who are struggling and saying, hey, look, like there's a great prospect at first overall this year. Why don't you stop trying to be bad and be really bad and get that guy? The one guy who, if I'm Edmonton, I'm calling and the phone would be hung up on right away is Dustin Wolf. But he's in that age where, but if you're Calgary, like he could prevent you from being that bad. I know he hasn't had the best start to the season, but
Devin Cooley's actually won them some games. Actually, he's having a pretty good year. Their backup, but UC Saros. You look at the bottom end of the league, and you're just thinking like, hey, there's some good goalies on those teams. Demko, although interdivisional, and can you rely on the health with him? I guess is the question of what, because the Canucks made their veterans available. So whether or not that means Demko is available to Edmonton, I don't know. Do they want to roll the dice on an injury-riddled goaltender? I don't know. But that's another option.
If they want to go with a low cost of acquisition, but a guy who's had some good games in the last couple of years, he's been hurt for a year though. So like this would probably not be the answer, but it's a guy who's familiar and has played parts of 4 seasons to start his career there. There was Ben Pope with Chicago Sun or Chicago news outlet said that Laurent Brossoit is ready to come back after missing quite some time. And he was great in Winnipeg. Obviously it was a goal, but 927 save percentage. I get it.
It's number 2. It's a number 2. Like he's a backup, you got to get a number 1. That's the thing. They got to get a number 1.
I don't know who they would have traded for, but like the fact that Spencer Knight got traded in the last year and it wasn't to the Edmonton Oilers, like I would have given up anybody not named McDavid or Draisaitl. Probably not Bouchard for Spencer Knight as well, but like,
well, at the time you wouldn't have. Like, let's be honest. At the time, I don't think a lot of people were willing to give up much for Spencer Knight. I mean, he had spent some time away. He hadn't been playing that well when he got the role in the NHL. So I don't know. I don't blame him for that. And I'm just trying to see where their draft pick capital's at right now. They don't have their first this year. But they have a second, a third, and they have their first 3 picks next year. So they got some picks to play with, some picks to send out to some teams that are struggling, that are looking to rebuild. So they got some draft picks, and they got a couple prospects, I guess.
Connor Clattenburg.
Sure. Connor Clattenburg, I guess, if they want someone who can play some NHL minutes. Isaac Howard, Ike Howard, could they move on from him? That hasn't really worked out the way they thought it would when they brought him in. But that's kind of it. Like there's not really much prospects who have a whole lot of juice to them. So, Matt Savoy is a young player that they might be able to move out to bring in somebody. But that's about it. Just a couple picks, couple prospects, but that should be enough to bring in a goalie from one of these struggling teams, I would think. Spent a lot of time on their goalies today.
Wakey Edmonton Oilers. That's because they are one of the teams outside the playoffs right now. So are the Winnipeg Jets. Which one of those teams are going to miss the playoffs? or will they both make it?
I think they both make it ultimately. I think that they'll both end up making it. Well, the problem is like how much longer. I got to see more games without Connor Hellebuck, I suppose. Like there's a possibility that without Hellebuck, like this Winnipeg Jets team falls apart, right?
Yeah.
And it completely goes because he's at what 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, and it's already been a week of it too, and Eric Comrie's been okay, but that's a lot to ask.
If it's 4 weeks that he's out and he's only out for another 3, and if they can stay afloat, okay, I like their odds at sneaking into one of these, final wild card spots potentially. If he misses the full 6 weeks and we don't see him until the new year, that's where I think it might be a bit difficult for Winnipeg to put it together at that point. Just because this was the league MVP last year. Without him, they wouldn't have been anywhere near the top of the leaderboard in the standings. So that theory is going to be put to test, just how valuable of a player he is over the next 4 to 6 weeks. That's for sure.
Yeah, and we're going to find out in a hurry. Eric Comrie in 3 games since the injury has an .888 save percentage, 1 win and 2 regulation losses.
Really quickly, Ross, give me a team to this point at the American Thanksgiving mark that's in a playoff spot or wherever they are. Yeah, in a playoff spot that absolutely blows your mind. And then the opposite, the team that's been the biggest disappointment for you to this mark.
Yeah, I think what blows my mind in a very positive way is the New York Islanders. Like, it looks like Ilya Sorokin is back. He looks amazing out there. Everybody's already been talking about Matthew Schaefer, but the entire team dynamic for me with the New York Islanders is just an exciting
Olympics, maybe.
He's been incredible, man. 14 goals, 25 points. Like, Barzal's been good as well. Kyle Palmieri is like the sneakiest, consistent 50-point guy. 34 years old. He's still doing it, but they're getting contributions from all over. The Jean-Gabriel Pageau, people wanted him traded. Final year of his contract, 33 years old. He's got 12 points in 22 games down the lineup. You've got Emil Heineman, who everyone thought in Montreal was just a throw-in in that trade for Noah Dobson. He's got 9 goals this season, which is second on the team. So I really am impressed with them. Even like just the fact that they're playing a more up-pace style brand of hockey. I just think that they're a team that's taken a huge step forward in terms of what my thoughts are for them. And they find themselves third in the Metropolitan Division. Out west, I won't go on a big tangent, but a team that I'm also impressed with is the Utah Mammoth. The way that they've been played. Yeah, I know that they've had a down.
How's Anaheim not at the top of your list? Anaheim is at the complete top of the list.
I expected Anaheim to be good. In my preseason thing, I think I had them second behind Edmonton in the Pacific Division. Or third, maybe. I had them in the top 3 for sure. Might have been behind Vegas and Edmonton. But I was a huge, huge proponent of Anaheim. So I think that's more of a pat myself on the back team. I knew they would be ready to go with adding those veterans to the young mix of players. But I could see that for the general perception of them being first is incredible in that division. The team that's disappointed me the most is the Vancouver Canucks, Mikey. I'll let you pick up from there because, my goodness, that team is in a struggle bus right now.
Yeah, they are. Now, the injuries obviously have played a big role. They can't stay healthy, and oftentimes they're throwing up preseason lineups, and their goalie has not been able to stay healthy. So that's a big reason for it. But
both of them, Lankinen out too
now. No, I know. It's incredible. And they traded away, Artur Shilovs for a 4th-round pick, and they could really use that now.
And coming off a championship in the AHL.
Yep. It made no sense when they made that trade, but regardless, that's definitely been a disappointment for the Canucks. I think they were hoping to compete for a playoff spot at the very least.
You see Michael Bublé going through it on social media?
Yeah. There's a lot of Canucks fans. A lot of Canucks fans that are disappointed. Our Rangers.
Yeah.
Our Rangers, 500 hockey through the first 24 games of the season. Didn't get the bounce back that they were hoping for. Sounds like given
they stink at home. Hey?
Given Miller the captaincy wasn't the solution.
No BS.
Yeah.
Dude, they're 2-7-1 at home.
Yeah, that's brutal.
That's a great rink. What the heck?
That's brutal for them to be that bad at home.
Imagine having
What are they at least playing decent? You know what though? Like expected goals, goals for, they're 8th in the league. So the process is there, which is weird because they're getting saves. They're just not scoring. Like they're just not getting any pucks in the back of the net. And
no.
it's an old team. It's a team that's kind of aging out, actually.
Yes.
So
Second fewest goals in the Eastern Conference. Only Philadelphia has one less. And get this, the Rangers have played 3 more games than Philly, and they've only got 1 more goal. So yeah, the Rangers, disappointing start to the season.
They're my team that I could see turning it around, though.
No,
that's
not
what
me.
I was going to say. I could see the Rangers turning it around.
Nope. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case.
Well, I don't see Boston in a playoff spot at the end of the year, and I don't know.
Detroit for me. I'm not moving off my take until they prove me right, because they always have one like 12-game losing streak or 8 games where they have 1 regulation win in the middle of the season. But they've been playing like hot and cold hockey like they have for the last couple of years. But their hot streaks this year have been able to overshadow the times where they're not. Like they got 4 wins in their last 10 games. And I'm still not sold on the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, I think I'm there with you. And so if that's 2 teams coming out, that means only 2 of Toronto, New York, Florida, Montreal. I'll throw Columbus into that mix too.
Yep.
Would make the playoffs, assuming the rest of the 6 teams currently in a playoff spot remain there.
In there too. Yeah.
And
Pittsburgh.
What's the stat? How many teams? What are the odds of making the playoffs if you're in a playoff position by American Thanksgiving?
I believe it's 85%.
So that means that 6 of 8 teams should be there, in the Eastern Conference, who are currently there.
Something I like looking at as well. I'll actually save it for the next segment where I'll go solo, and I just can't believe it because this ruined the Ottawa Senators franchise in 2017-18. Going over to Sweden for those pair of games. So I like following how teams do after that trip. And both Nashville and Pittsburgh got shut out in their first game back, and neither team has won a single game since going over to Europe. But we'll discuss that next, and I'll get to the 3 stars of the week. You're listening to Locked On NHL, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It is the #1 sports book here on the Locked On Podcast Network, and the NBA, NHL, they're back. No better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of a game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to last-minute comebacks. Plus, you can even bet your live bets and combine them into a same-game parlay for a shot at bigger payouts. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making a late push. Right now, FanDuel's giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So get in on the action. Tonight, 15 games in the National Hockey League. So go on there, maybe have a please help my team parlay. I like to do that when West teams are playing the East. Just keep those points out West. So head to FanDuel.com. You can sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Welcome back, Locked On NHL, your team every day. We're part of Locked On Podcast Network, which is the #1 sports podcast network. Thank you to everybody for making that happen, liking, subscribing, and being a part of the show. So, like I was starting to mention there, the Pittsburgh Penguins, who were such a great story to start the National Hockey League season, they're back down to earth. Now, this downturn did start before they went over to Sweden and played those 2 games against Nashville where they went 1-0-1, but they've only got 1 win in North America in their last 7 games. So you look at that, you look at the age of their team. They've been relying a lot on the power play so far. They're 25th in the league in goals for. They're second best in the league, though, in goals against, and they can thank the Vancouver Canucks partly for that with Arthur Shelovs and what he's been able to do in goal for Pittsburgh. He's got 11 starts. He's got a .908 save percentage, got a shutout in there, 8 quality starts. That's given him a chance to get wins for his team, but they haven't all been wins. He's got 4 overtime losses that go out with 4 wins and 3 losses in regulation. They've actually gotten great goaltending all around. Tristan Jarry, while he's healthy, has been good. And Marashov has been a fantastic story. 4 games, 3 starts, a 190 goals against average, and a 913 save percentage. But they can only do so much. At even strength, the Pittsburgh Penguins, they just haven't been a great team throughout the season. They're getting contributions, of course, still from Evgeny Malkin and Sidney Crosby. Outrageous when you look at a 38 and a 39-year-old being 1-2 on a team in scoring, but these two legends are making it happen. Erik Karlsson slowed down a little bit after a fantastic offensive start, still having a good season. Great for his standards in terms of defensively and bouncing back, but he's only got 1 assist in his last 6 games after really starting strong. So I'm looking at the Pittsburgh Penguins, and we knew Nashville, they were on the downturn already, starting the season up against it. It's not kind when they come back from Sweden. And playing the games over there is one thing, but getting readjusted to North America and getting that strange time off, and it's just a tough look. And I know I'm speaking from experience. Ottawa won 2 of their next 19 games, it felt like, after coming back from Sweden after making it to the conference finals. And then all of a sudden it was, okay, who's getting traded? Who's going to be here in the long haul? Okay, enough of those horrible memories for me. Let's get to our 3 stars of the week. We do this each and every week here on Wednesdays, a little midweek 3 stars. And we've had some great performances since November 20th, last Thursday. And the Tampa Bay Lightning, like, they almost should be a star themselves. But I'll go with the guy who's leading the way offensively for them. And that's Brandon Hagel with 4 goals and 7 points in 3 games this week. It was a bit of a slow start. I know Mikey, myself, we're starting to look at Team Canada for the Olympics and saying who that was on the 4 Nations team is not going to be there for the Olympics. And we both kind of said, look, Hagel had an unbelievable year last year, 90 points, 35 goals, none on the power play, all even strength or shorthanded, 3 shorties, pretty sick. Like, he can play up and down your lineup for Team Canada, but he started pretty slow this year, under a point per game by quite a while, or by quite a ways. And now all of a sudden he's got 22 and 21. The Lightning are the hottest team out in the Eastern Conference, and it's feels wild to even think that Brandon Hagel won't be on Team Canada. So he's going to be my 3rd star of the week. He was also +6. 6 of his 7 points came at even strength. The other shorthanded, 12 shots on goal in those 3 games. He's been a mutant for them. 2nd star of the week, and call it a bit of bias just for 1 game, but I don't care. It was the first 4-goal game in Utah Mammoth history, and it was courtesy of Logan Cooley. So he's going to get some love from me on this one this week, just for that incredible performance. They're talking a lot about it on Locked On Mammoth. He was +3 in those 3 games, averaging just 16 minutes a game. His ice time feels like it's down a little bit, but he was a rock star in that win. So he gets my 2nd star of the week. And the number 1 star, no surprise, I'm going with Jason Robertson. Keeps the goal streak alive. He's got 6 points in 3 games this year. To think that there were trade rumors about this guy in the offseason, it just feels nuts looking back at it. He's got 6 points in his last 3 games, and even before that, 2 goals the game before, 3 goals the game before that. His splits this year in terms of start to finish have just been remarkable. Like, the stretch he's on right now is one of the most incredible ones we've seen all season for a National Hockey League player. The fact that he's done this all 3 games this week on the road for the Dallas Stars. 1 game, he played almost 25 minutes. Another game, just 17. So he's up and down. Whatever the team needs, he's going to give it to you. And he is just an incredible talent. So I think anybody who had phone calls this summer with Jim Nill and the Dallas Stars and thought there was maybe a chance they could get Robo out of Dallas, they're kicking themselves right now. And 397 career NHL games. So this week he'll likely play his 400th game. He's already got 425 points, and he's a +103. But I mentioned earlier in the show that this year he's tied with Connor Bedard for 4th in the National Hockey League in points. So that is our 3 stars of the week: Jason Robertson, number 1, Logan Cooley, number 2, and Brandon Hagel, number 3. You can make a very good argument that the Tampa Bay Lightning as a team should be the ones recognized here. In terms of goaltenders, fantastic week, of course, for Andrei Vasilevsky, a .978 save percentage, only allowing 1 goal in 2 games. Yaroslav Askarov, fantastic as well, with a .942 save percentage in 2 games. San Jose Sharks, man, they're a really fun team to watch. So we'll see if they can continue moving in the right direction, and we'll look for a number of storylines this week, all covered, of course, by the Locked On Podcast Network, where you have Locked On Senators. You can hear more from me and Brandon Pillar. Locked On Maple Leafs with my co-host here, Mike DiStefano, and, of course, Dave Morassutti. We got a Locked On show for each and every team, so please go check them out, whether your team's playing against them, whatever the case may be. We appreciate you for liking, listening, and subscribing to the show. We are a part of Locked On Podcast Network, which is the #1 sports podcast network. So go make another Locked On NHL show your next listen. We appreciate you making Locked On NHL your first listen each and every weekday. We'll hand it over to Locked On NHL Game Night, where it is a busy one in the National Hockey League. 15 games on the schedule. They will back that up with 0 tomorrow on U.S. Thanksgiving. And then Friday, 15 more games. That's right. Just about every team in action on Wednesday and Friday this week. I'm Ross Levitan for my co-host Mike DiStefano. This has been another Wednesday edition of the Locked On NHL podcast, your team every day.